everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I want to show you how to make the Abigail baby blanket. This design is actually named for another shawl using the same stitches right here on the Bonnie Bay Crochet YouTube channel. And this particular design, it's an intermediate design, and I chose some yarn I'm going to show you in just a minute, and it's totally self-striping. You only need 2 cakes of it, and it features just regular double crochet, the arrow stitch, and the Celtic weave, and I end with an eyelet trim. And I'm very, very thrilled with the way this came out, and I just want to thank those crocheters who encouraged me to make this blanket. Well, let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need. For this project, I'm going to be using 2 cakes of Lion Brand Yarns Mandala Baby Yarn. And let me give you some stats on this. Each of these cakes has 5.3 ounces or 150 grams, 590 yards or 540 meters each. And this is a 100% acrylic. And just take note that this is a number 3 weight yarn. It's a little bit thinner than the yarn that you may be accustomed to if you've mostly used worsted weight. Okay, now you can use worsted weight yarn on this project should you choose to. Just make sure you upsize your hook from what I'm going to show you. And just to give you an idea of the colorway of this beautiful yarn, and let's see, does this colorway have a name? It does. It's right there. Is it Diagon Alley? All right, so let me go ahead and show you the hook that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a size H or 8 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I'm recommending that you have a pair of sharp scissors and a yarn needle handy. To begin, we will make our slip knot and a chain 4. Once we make the chain, we're going to make a slip stitch in that very first chain, and we have a very small loop. Go ahead and chain 2, and for the record, this does not count as a double crochet, but we're going to work 18 double crochets worked right into the center of this small circle or small loop. And also notice that as I work this, I'm going to be working over the loose strand. This is just an excellent way to hide this while you can. So I'm going to go ahead and finish making these 18 double crochets. Okay, now that I have 18 double crochets, and do take the time to count to be sure that you have exactly 18. That's very important for the math going forward on this particular design. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch to that very first stitch of the round, chain 2, and now we are going to work 2 double crochets in the same place as joining, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. At the end of this round, we should have a total of 36 double crochets, and again, be sure that you take the time to count to be sure that we have that many stitches. Also, I'm going to go ahead and trim this very carefully so that that strand is no longer a problem, and it is well hidden under those 18 double crochets. So go ahead and finish working 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. At the end of this round, we join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. And just again, as a reminder, this chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Okay, now we are ready to go on to round number 4. And round number 4 is where we change our circle into a square. We're going to chain 2, and in the very first space, first stitch, and this is the same place as we just joined, we're going to form a corner, and that is going to be consisting of 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. And I'm also going to stop to verify that I have the correct number. And I do. Yay. So now we are going to form another corner in the next stitch, which will be, again, 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 double crochets, all worked in the same space. Just like that. And then I am going to again work 1 double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So after working those 8 stitches, and again, take the time to double check that you have the correct number, because these foundation rounds are probably the most important that we are going to work in the entire project. In the next stitch, we form another corner, which again is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches again. So we're basically doing this repeat all the way around until we have formed a square. But I'm going to go ahead and just work this entire round with you, just so it is clear and there are no doubts as to what you need to do. Okay, I think that is 8 stitches. Let me go ahead and verify. Yes, it is 8. And then in the next stitch, again, a corner, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And across the last edge you should have 8 stitches left, so we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of those remaining 8 stitches. Okay, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's always nice when the math works. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you should have. It might be a little bit wavy. Don't worry about that right now. This will all work out as we progress. Okay, so after that we are going to slip stitch our way to the chain 2 corner, just like that. And we are going to start the next round in this same corner. So what we're going to do, we're going to chain 2 and work another corner, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in that corner space. And then now we're going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch across. Now be careful that you don't skip the very first stitch. It's easy for the double crochets to cover up that stitch. Don't ignore that one. Make sure we begin with that one. So we're going to work double crochets in each stitch across. And let me go ahead and sum up what we're going to do. When we get to the chain 2 corner, we're going to work a corner like we've been doing. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then again 1 double crochet in each stitch across. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Now I'm finishing up the round, and I have come to the place where there is the chain 2 space. So I just want you to be careful not to add an additional stitch in here. I'm going to go over to the double crochet here. Now it's going to be a little bit chunkier, thicker here because we do have those slip stitches that we worked. Don't worry, just go ahead and crochet over that, and as you can see, it looks fine, just like the other stitches. And then join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, and then we're going to slip stitch our way again to the chain 2 corner. Chain 2, and then we form another corner. We still have not turned our work, just to let you know. Everything is still with the front side facing. So we work a 2 double crochets, chain 2, and a 2 double crochets in that chain 2 corner. And now we're going to begin the arrow stitch. This is one of my favorite stitches, and I think you're really going to like the texture. We're going to wrap our hook 2 times to prepare to work a treble crochet. So we're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a treble crochet in that next stitch. Now we're going to work behind this treble, and we're going to work in these stitches that we just skipped, and we can just pull that treble down in front like that, and revealing those stitches. Now the first one is way over here. Remember I said sometimes these stitches tend to cover it, so make sure we do not forget that very first stitch or your stitch count will be off. So we're going to double crochet in each of those 3 stitches that we skipped, just like that. So after completing that first arrow stitch, let's go ahead and do another. Skip the next 3 stitches, and then treble crochet in that next stitch. And now working behind this stitch, we're going to double crochet in the 3 stitches that we just skipped. And we're going to do this 2 more times going across. Skip the next 3 stitches, treble crochet in that next stitch. Working behind that stitch, we're going to work double crochets in those 3 stitches that we just skipped. I think you'll find this is one of the easiest cable style stitches there is, and it's also, I think, one of the more beautiful ones. Just to prove that cables do not have to be difficult. Alright, so we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, treble in that next stitch, and then working behind that treble, we work 1 double crochet in each of those 3 stitches that we just skipped. Once we get to the corner, we work our 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets to fill that corner space. So let's take a look at what we've just done. Okay, so you can see we have 4 arrows begun across the side, and you will have 4 arrows across each side, and the 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in each chain 2 corner. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, and let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. This is after 5 rounds, and again, please don't be worried about this curling up on you. This is far from finished, I promise you. And there's always the option of blocking your work, which adds a nice added shape to it. All right, so now we're on to round number 6, and round number 6 is going to be round 2 of the arrow stitch. So we're going to slip stitch to the corner, and this is the first time in the project that we're actually going to turn to have the back side facing us. And we're going to chain 2, and we are going to work the round 2 of the arrow stitch. Now first of all, we need to double crochet in the first 2 stitches that were those corner stitches. Okay, now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, and you can see a nice grouping of 3 here, and then we're going to treble crochet in that next stitch, which is also the same top of the treble crochet from the previous round. After we do that, working in front of this stitch, we're going to double crochet in those 3 stitches. Let me try that again. In the 3 stitches that we skipped. This might be a little bit tricky. Just be sure you get those loops correctly. Okay, and that's what we're going to do all the way across. I'll work a couple of these with you. Skip the next 3. Again, you see them all clustered together. Treble crochet in that next stitch, which is, and you can always flip to verify that that is the treble crochet from the previous round. If you don't get it in that stitch exactly, it is not going to look like an arrow. Then we double crochet in these 3 stitches as we work in front of the treble crochet. Remember, this is the back side facing us. I'm going to work this with you one more time, and then I'll show you the front side facing. So again, we skip the next 3 stitches, treble crochet in that next stitch, working in front of that treble, we double crochet in the 3 stitches that we just skipped. And what we'll do is we'll work this across one more time. You know what? I'm going to just finish the row with you. Skip the next 3, treble crochet in the next stitch, and then again working those double crochets, work in front of that treble crochet. And then we get to the chain 2 corner. First we work a double crochet in those extra 2 double crochets that were the corner from the previous round, and then we get to the chain 2 corner, we work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets, and then we're going to work a double crochet in those first 2 stitches on the next side and on every side, and then we begin repeating the arrow. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at how this arrow stitch looks after 2 rounds. Isn't that beautiful? And again, it's a very easy, very doable cabling style stitch, and I dare say even for a confident beginner. Okay, so go ahead and finish this all the way around, and I will show you the join at the end. As we finish, we are going to work the corner, which again is the 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets worked in that chain 2 space, and then we join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Let's go ahead and turn at this point. Let's take a look at what we have. I hope you're enjoying this texture as much as I am. Okay, so we have turned so that we can begin the next round. The next round is, let's see, round 7. Let's go ahead and chain 1. And we've gone ahead and turned. Let's go ahead and slip stitch our way to the chain 2 corner. Very important. As we do that, we're going to chain 2, and again work that 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets in that chain 2 corner. And the next 3 rounds are going to be very easy. We simply work a double crochet in each stitch across the sides, and when we get to the chain 2 corner, you know what to do. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So go ahead and work all the way around, and I will show you the join at the end.
As we come around to the end of this round, don't forget that this is a turning chain and do not work it as a stitch or you will be adding to your stitch count. So I'm going to go ahead and work the last 2 stitches. Again, it's going to be over some bulky slip stitches, but it's okay. This will not be a problem. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch. Now we're going to work 2 more rounds of the double crochet, and we're not going to need to turn to do this. If you do turn, it's going to change the way we join at the corner. So we slip stitch to the corner, and we're just going to work 2 more rounds just like this, working the double crochets in each stitch. And again, we start with a corner. I'm just going to start you off on this and send you off to do 2 more rounds. So we have 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets worked in that corner. And again, don't forget that very first stitch. So go ahead and work 2 more rounds of just the double crochets and do not turn at the end of these rounds. This is what you should have after completing 9 rounds. Okay, I've already joined and I've slip stitched to the chain 2. So now we're ready to begin round 10, which is going to begin the Celtic weave stitches. So we're going to go ahead and chain 2, and you know the drill. We're going to work that corner with 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Now this is probably my all-time favorite stitch. It's not nearly as easy as the arrow stitch, but I think if you just watch what I do, if you've never done this before, watch a couple of rounds first before trying this, just so that you won't be totally frustrated if you're a total beginner to this stitch. We're going to wrap our hook because we're going to be working a lot of front post treble crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches. We're going to front post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of those 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble crochet in the 2 stitches we skipped. The first stitch here, and then the next stitch. And for those of you who've never seen a post stitch, the only thing that's different is instead of working in through the top loops, we wrap the hook around the body of the stitch. So this is going to be a repeat across the side to the next corner. Skip 2 stitches, wrapping our hook around the body, front post treble in the next 2 stitches, working in front of those last 2 stitches, we front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped, starting with the one that's furthest away, or the first one that we skipped, and then the second one that we skipped. And again, these are treble crochets. Let's do this again. Skip the next 2 stitches and front post treble in the next 2 stitches. I will put an additional stitch video, or I probably will put a listing of stitch videos in the video description below should you need extra viewing on these stitches. So working in front of those 2 stitches, we front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped. So go ahead and work this across to the corner, and I'll show you how to proceed from the corner. I want to show you the last 4 stitches as you work across to the corner. Skip 2, front post treble in the last 2 stitches on this side, working in front of those 2 stitches, we front post treble in those 2 skip stitches, and you should not have any extra stitches left. Okay, then we're going to work the corner with 2 double crochets. Make sure you revert back to double crochets for this and not trebles. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets, and let's go ahead and start the next side with a skip 2 and treble crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then working in front of those 2 stitches, we're going to treble crochet in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, so we've made that corner turn. So let's go ahead and just take a look at how this is coming out. All right, so go ahead and finish this all the way around, and I'll show you the join and how to work row 2 of the Celtic weave. At the end of the round, we join with a slip stitch to that very first stitch of the round. And just as a reminder, I did not work around this chain, so I worked around these 2 stitches and then these 2, avoiding that chain 2, so don't get that confused as a stitch. And as you can see, it is well hidden within the work. All right, so now we're going to slip stitch to the corner, and we are going to turn. Very important that we turn to work row 2 of the Celtic weave. We start with a chain 2, and do notice that we are not forming the corner. We will do that at the end of the row whenever the back side of the work is facing, and that should only be when you're working round 2 of the Celtic weave and round 2 of the arrow stitch. You will form the corner at the end. Okay, so we are going to begin. We're going to skip the first 2 stitches, and again, that is a chain. We're not going to work in that. And we're going to back post treble crochet over those 2 stitches. And now working in front of these 2 stitches, as seen from the front side, we're going to work a back post treble around those 2 stitches that we just skipped. Let me try that one again. So I'm going to show you how I can come around the back this way to work that first stitch. Might be a little bit tricky on this corner, but it's very doable. And then the next stitch, which is right here. All right, so now that we've got that started, we skip the next 2 stitches, and then we back post around the next 2, and these 2 are going to be on the surface. They're not going to be hidden. Again, this is the part where it might be good to watch this just a bit before attempting it so that you understand what you're doing. Now the next, after we've finished these 2, we're going to work in front of these as seen from the front side, and we're going to back post treble around this stitch and this stitch. And this is where it's good to get your fingers involved. The nerve endings in your thumbkin and tall man finger here will come in very handy. And so we're going to work, and working in front of those stitches as seen from the front side. Going to bring our hook around to do that stitch, and then the next stitch. I know this is a bit tricky, so do take your time in learning it. Mistakes are allowed as you learn, so please give yourself grace in making some of these mistakes as you practice this stitch. In fact, you may want to just practice on a separate swatch until you understand it better. Okay, skip the next 2 stitches and back post treble in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of these as seen from the front side. Let's go ahead, we're going to back post treble in this stitch and then this stitch. Bring our hook around the back. And we're going to do that one more time. Okay, like that. Let me show this to you one more time. Skip the next 2 stitches. Back post treble in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of these as seen from the front side, we're going to back post treble around this and then this stitch. Just make sure these last stitches that you're working now are on top of the previous stitches. Okay, let's go ahead and stop. Now I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like from the back side, which doesn't look like a whole lot. And this is the front side, and that looks much richer in texture, much nicer. So go ahead and work this to the corner, and I will show you what to do once you get to the corner. As we approach the corner, we have 2 stitches left in the Celtic weave, and then 2 additional stitches. So we're going to skip these 2 stitches, just like we've been doing, back post treble in the next 2 stitches, and just like we've been doing, working in front of these stitches as seen from the front side, we're going to back post treble in those 2 stitches that are left there along the side. Let's get that escapee strand back on the hook, and let's continue. All right, and that brings us to the corner, and you know what to do. 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And I'm going to show you how to start this side one more time, just so there is no doubt. Skip the next 2 stitches, back post treble, and the next 2 stitches, and then working in front of these as seen from the front side, we're going to incorporate these 2 additional stitches into our work. Now, for those of you who are familiar with working the Celtic weave in straight rows, you'll know that this is slightly different, and the reason is we are adding Celtic weave stitches as the corners grow. Okay, so we're just making the most use of all the stitches to give this blanket as much texture as possible. So go ahead and finish this all the way around, and I will show you the final join. At the end of this round, it's time for us to work the corner, those 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, and then we join with a slip stitch to the very first stitch of the round, which was that very first Celtic weave that we worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn, and this is after the second round of the Celtic weave. I hope you are really enjoying this. This is really pretty. And so now we're ready to work one more round of the Celtic weave. And so to begin this round, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch to the corner. And since we have the front side facing, we will work the corner first with those 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Okay, now we're going to work round 1 again of the Celtic weave, and it's worked the same way, except this time it's going to be easier to see where to work these. I believe we skipped the first 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2 stitches, and now working in front of those 2 stitches, we're going to work in those 2 stitches that we skipped, and we're going to make these part of the Celtic weave as well. And I will go ahead and work one more of these with you. Skip the next 2 stitches, and these are kind of hiding back here, and then we work these next 2 stitches. These are the stitches that are on the surface already. And working in front of those, we're going to work these 2 stitches that we skipped, and again, use your finger and thumb to find these 2 stitches, and don't forget them. You will be short stitches, and it won't look right if you do. So again, we're front post trebling around those 2 stitches. Let me do that one more time. skip the next 2 stitches. These are the 2 that are hiding, front post treble, and the 2 stitches that are on the surface. And then working in front of these 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. Just like that. So go ahead and work this all the way around. And just as a reminder, when you get to the last stitches, you front post treble in these 2, and then you front post treble in these 2 that are hiding here, and then work your corner 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. At the end of round 12, which is also round 1 again of the Celtic weave, we're going to join with a slip stitch. And then let's go ahead and slip stitch our way to the corner. And let's take a look at this beautiful stitch. So this is what you should have at this point. Now I'm going to go ahead and start on a repeat of the double crochet rounds. We're going to chain 2, and just like we've done before, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets in the chain 2 corner. Notice that I did not turn at the end of that Celtic weave round as we transition to the double crochets. Now for the double crochet rounds, we're just going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch, just like we did following the arrow stitch rounds. So work 1 double crochet, and you can see I'm just working in the top of those trebles from the previous rounds. Okay, so let me give you some directions for how to go from here. So we're going to work rounds 13, 14, and 15 with just the double crochets, and again, do not turn at the end of these rounds. After we finish rounds 13, 14, and 15, for round 16 onward, what we will do is we are going to repeat rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So rounds 5 through 15 will be the repeat as the blanket grows. And you can make this blanket as large or as small as you wish by the number of repeats. Now, if you don't want a full repeat, you can always stop after the any of these sections, quite honestly. So go ahead and work the repeats again, and that would include the arrow, 2 rows of the arrow, 3 rows of double crochet, 3 rows of Celtic weave, followed by 3 rows of double crochet. Repeat that until the blanket is the size that you wish, and then I will show you how to work the final trim round. I've just completed a total of 28 rounds, and let me show you what I have. And I just really enjoyed the colors as this unfolded, and I will show you a much better overall photo of this in just a second. So let me give you some specifics on what I did. I gave you the assignment to repeat rounds 5 through 15, which is the arrows, the double crochet, the Celtic weave, more double crochet. So I only did 1 complete repeat of that. So that took me through round 26. And then I added 2 more rounds. I repeated rounds 5 and 6 for another set of arrows on the outside. So now we're about to start round 29, which is the eyelet. But let me just be clear that if you would like this to be bigger, by all means make it bigger. You can just continue the pattern with the rounds. If you want this to be smaller, just work fewer rounds. It's as simple as that. Some good stopping points would be after the arrow rounds, or after the 3 rounds, or however many rounds you want to work of the double crochet. So now we're going to begin the eyelet round, and I've gone ahead and slip stitched to my corner. Let's go ahead and chain 1. We're going to work 2 eyelets in the chain 2 corners. I'll demonstrate it here. Just know that when you get to the other 3 chain 2 corners, go ahead and do the same thing by working 2 of these. And we do this by working a single crochet, chain 3, and then double crochet. Okay, that's 1. Let's do that again in the same chain 2 space. Single crochet, chain 3, and then a double crochet. Okay, and working in the very next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet. Now this is where it's different going across. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going to work an eyelet in the next stitch. Single crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet. So let's pause and take a look at this for a minute. Okay, let's continue. Skip 2, and again single crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet. Skip 2, chain 3, and a double crochet. Skip 2, and so you get the idea. So let's go ahead and just take a look again. And you see how this should be looking nice and even. If you find that it's very wavy, all you need to do is change the size of your hook down 1 size. But I think you should not need to do that. So go ahead and work this all the way around. So I've worked this eyelet all the way around. Skip the next 2 stitches. We're going to work it right here. And I'm going to chain 3. And do another eyelet right here, and this is going to make sure that all 3 of these match. Now I'm going to also connect it right down here with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to give it a chain and pull it nice and tightly, and let's go ahead and trim a nice long piece. And all I need to do now is hide a couple of loose strands, and then I will be complete. So let me go ahead and I'll show you a couple of beautiful pictures of this right here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed making the Abigail baby blanket with me today. If you did, I would love to hear from you. Please comment below. God bless. Bye-bye.